Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. I want to welcome all of you to the Majestic. You know, when our crew first came here and we were looking for an unusual venue, and that's a differentiating part of CentreCourt, they came into this building and Jennifer Gardner was here filming her commercial with Capital One for the Super Bowl. So no Jennifer Gardner here today, unfortunately, I'm sure, but you do have us. And we have a great guest today. We're going to do a little fireside chat. We'll do this for 30 minutes. We'll open it up for a little Q&A. And they're going to bring on stage all the different schools that are represented here to allow you to hear what they have to say and to then meet up with them. At 3 o'clock, we're going to open the bar. People can have a glass of wine, a few hors d'oeuvres, walk around and chat with the admissions people at the different schools. I also want to acknowledge a couple members of our team. We have Ingrid here, who is our events coordinator. Ingrid, are you out there somewhere? If you are, wave your arms. And she's back there. And we have Tori. Tori is our multimedia person. She is helping us live stream the event on both Facebook and our homepage, and she will later do production work on the video that will be archived on the site. So I have with me today John Kaplan, and John is Assistant Dean of basically all the MBA programs, actually all the master's programs at UC Irvine's Paul Merage School of Business. Welcome, John.
Nice to be here, John. Pleasure.
Now, John is a local guy. He has an economics degree and an MBA from UCLA Anderson.
Yep.
At one time, believe it or not, he was a public announcer, public address announcer for the Harlem Globetrotters. 20 years director of operations for the UCLA football team. And for the past 4 years has been at Merage after a stint at UC Berkeley, running its MBA programs for working professionals.
That's right.
I want to get at something that I know everybody who considers an MBA has an issue with, and that's a sticker price. So John, when you went to UCLA and you got your MBA, how much did you pay for it?
I'm almost afraid to say this. $11,000 a year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago either.
No, and so now at UCLA, what's the price tag?
It's over, I'd have to ask Alex, but it's, at UCI, it's $90,000, sticker price.
Yes,
at UCLA,
full price.
Yeah, full price.
Not 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole way, so 40 to 45,000, depending on resident or non-resident.
So, you know, a lot of people have sticker shock when they look at those prices. Put it into perspective for people.
Yeah, so I think the important thing for everybody in the room and everybody out there to know is that it is just the sticker price. And all the schools, especially the schools in the top 50, are being very aggressive with fellowships and opportunities for students to discount that price and to basically get through the program with less debt. And in fact, we're just going through a process right now at UCI where we were studying how much debt our students are leaving with. And actually we found out that less than a quarter of our students are leaving school with any kind of debt. And the majority of those are ones who are in dual programs with medicine and with law, because they're incurring a lot of debt through those programs. So it speaks to that you can actually get through the program without incurring a lot of debt, and then of course we know about the return on investment you get from getting an MBA as well.
Well, let's talk about the ROI. I mean, what is the ROI on an MBA today? And does it actually differ in any meaningful way based on a top-tier school versus a second-tier school versus a third-tier school or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you look at the data, actually the students who graduate from our programs have a higher percentage increase in their salary than what you're going to get at some of the top schools. Now, obviously, that's because maybe the base might be a little bit less at some of the top schools, but the bottom line is that you're getting return on investment wherever you go. go. And as a result, it's still a great investment to go through the full-time MBA program as well as all of our MBA programs.
I think the actual numbers are, if you actually pay full tuition, it's like 3.5 years payback.
Yeah.
Most people do get scholarships today because there is indeed an arms race among the schools with scholarship money.
Yep.
And that easily brings it down to 2 or fewer years, even on a 2-year program with the opportunity cost involved.
Exactly.
So, but other than the money and the ROI, talk a little bit about the value of an MBA. I mean, they're increasingly, particularly in California, where we're startup crazy.
Yep.
You have a lot of naysayers, and what they say is, hey, if you want to start a business, take the money you'd pay in tuition and use it as seed capital for your own company.
Right.
And then there are other people who are just, you know, the MBA, because it's such a popular degree.
Yep.
You know, it is the most popular master's degree in America today. So you have a lot of people who don't really believe in it.
Yeah.
But let's talk about why it is in fact valuable.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because when you look back in the 80s and 90s during sort of what people call the heyday of the MBA, well, it obviously made a lot of sense back then because it was a way to transition into consulting, investment banking, maybe working for a CPG company and product management. But what's happened over time, just like the world has changed, the MBA industry has changed a lot too. And what the MBA allows people to do now is go in so many different directions. And I think what we find in our students in particular is that they're taking a great skill set that they've built up over 3 to 5 years of work experience on average. They're coming to our program and they're learning these new skills. Our focus is on leadership for a digitally driven world, so we're really focusing on allowing our students to build not just an understanding of how you use technology, but how you deal with technology in the business place. And so as a result, and I'm sure some other schools are doing this as well too, as a result, what happens is that you set yourself up so nicely that when you go out and interact with employers, they see that these individuals have a different skill set, something that helps them stand out in a much different way than somebody with an MBA in the 80s and 90s, but yet still significantly different than somebody without an MBA. And that's why it makes a big difference.
Now, many people do an MBA to switch careers. Some people do the so-called triple jump, where they switch disciplines, industries, as well as geography.
Yeah.
Why is an MBA so effective in making a career switch?
I think it signals the market that you're doing something different. And the great thing about MBA programs now is that we're very focused on giving people not just what you get in the academic setting in terms of the classroom, but also we're getting people out there and they're getting experiential learning opportunities through internships and through projects. So as a result, you have deliverables from these projects that you can put on your resume and speak to exactly that skill set that employer is looking for somebody who has done this previously. Of course, you know, for our students, it's within the context of being in school. So it makes a lot of sense, and it just allows for that easy transition versus if you're just a person who, you know, is in one field and wants to switch to finance, well, how do you do that without understanding, okay, there are some hoops that you need to jump through to get there. So it really works effectively, and highly recommend for any career switchers that they look at the full-time MBA. That's a great place for people to go.
And one reason for that, of course, in a 2-year program, you get to do an internship. So 2 things happen in an internship. Number one, an employer minimizes the risk of a hire,
right,
and they like that. Many employers, in fact, offer jobs only to people that they have as interns.
Yep.
But the other aspect of that is it gets you to try out something you've never done before.
Exactly.
And line you up for that career switch.
Exactly. One of the nice things about Merage too is that because of the nature of our program, the bulk of the units take place in the first year. So we have a large amount of our full-time students who will get internships not just in the summer, but they'll work through their second year in an internship, maybe working up to 30, 35 hours a week while they're going to school. And so, and more than just an experiential learning project, they're also having a chance to work for a real live business and show what they can do. And of course, a lot of them get jobs out of that scenario.
It helps bring down the cost of the degree as well, I might add.
No doubt, no doubt.
Okay, so how do you think MBA programs have changed since the time that you were at UCLA Anderson? So you graduated in 1998, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
And now you have actually been you know, at UC Irvine, but also you were at Berkeley.
Yep.
And for a while you worked in admissions at UCLA Anderson, in fact.
That's correct, yeah.
So talk about the evolution of the MBA program, how it's changed and why you think the changes are good. Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Yeah. I think they've been great. I think we're changing with the times. We're understanding what's out there and what the needs are of employers and what the needs are of our students who are going through the program. So as I alluded to before, you know, there was a much more focused search back in the day. I was the rare person who wasn't going for a finance, consulting, or marketing job. I had actually, as you said, worked for UCLA Athletics, so I thought, okay, I wanted to get an MBA to become an athletic director. But no, instead, I ended up falling into this, and of course, you know, this has set my career. But I think more people now are looking at more breadth in terms of what opportunities are out there. And then it's so critical now to be in some type of educational program because of how much the world has changed. We have a Center for Digital Transformation, and what it's all about is really helping people understand that you can't do business in the old way. Our faculty realized this, and over less than a 2-year period, turned our curriculum over to make sure that every single class that we have addresses how you deal with a digital environment. And again, it's not just using technology, it's all the ramifications of technology. Like, okay, you get this huge data set, how do you analyze that and make great decisions? So I think in a nutshell, the way the MBA has changed is that the world has changed. Right. And so we've had to change with that. I was thinking, what analogy would make a lot of sense? And the one that makes a lot of sense is network television. So back in the day when you and I were young bucks, we had ABC, NBC, and CBS. You know, Fox came on when I was a kid, I remember. But, you know, now, how do you consume entertainment? There's so many different areas. Well,
John, I hate to turn the television on. It's so confusing to me.
I know, exactly. So you can even, I mean, at our place now, you can just say into the remote Netflix, and boom, there it is. So.
And actually, let me applaud you for the digital transformation stuff, because actually I believe that if there's one area that MBA education has actually lagged industry, it's in digital transformation.
Yep.
There are still many MBA programs that don't give you deep exposure into how important that transformation has been in the way we live, the way we work, the way we think,
yeah.
And how systemic technological change has been in business.
Yeah.
Globalization, I think it's nailed. Entrepreneurship, nailed.
Yes.
All the basics, obviously, accounting, finance, strategy, marketing, operations, nailed.
Yeah.
But the digital transformation piece, I think that's where business schools today lag.
Yeah, yeah.
Another important way that MBA education has changed is experiential learning, and you
Yes.
alluded to this earlier. What are you doing at Merage there?
Yeah, so I guess we're somewhat trendsetters in a way too, because over 20 years ago, we started an applied consulting class, and one of our professors, Emil Pilafidis, has led this course for a number of years, and we basically reach out to the local business community and source 6 to 7 projects each quarter that our students now are in the real workplace, interacting with people at that business and helping solve some sort of issue that they might have. And now it's proliferated where pretty much every school now has some type of experiential learning project. So the way that, again, as I said before, you get that is actually through one of those projects, but also through those internships and those secondary internship opportunities where you can really get your hands kind of dirty in terms of understanding what's going on in that line of business that you might want to pursue once you're done with your degree. So it makes a lot of sense. I think the other thing that's happened too is that the age of the full-time MBA has dropped slightly over the years, and so with less work experience, it's allowing us to recruit some people that maybe wouldn't have been the ideal candidate a couple years ago or 5, 10 years ago. Now we're okay with bringing them in because they can get the experiential learning experience while they're in school, so they have that skill set when they leave.
Now, John, another good thing that a lot of MBA programs do is they allow people in the military to transition to civilian life.
Absolutely.
And I met here today a Marine officer who is thinking about getting an MBA to do just that. Why is an MBA a good bet for a military guy?
We love we love veterans. When we see a veteran applying to our program, we are so thrilled to have that individual looking at Merage, because they bring so many qualities that you want in somebody that you want in your class, but also somebody that you want to work with. And you know, we all talk about holistically how we look at candidates. A big part of what we look at Merage is not just GMAT, GPA, but are you somebody I'd want to work with? Are you somebody that I'd want to be in a room at 2 in the morning trying to figure out how we're going to finish this project? And so what you get for sure, it's almost a given with a veteran, they're going to have somebody who's very focused, who is very committed to getting the job done, who has excelled in very difficult environments. So there's so many aspects to it. We just love having veterans apply to the program, and we always have a nice segment of veterans in the program, in all our programs for that matter.
Now, one of the big growth areas in business education has been the specialty master's degree.
Yes.
And in your role at Merage, you actually run not only the full-time MBA program and the executive MBA program and the hybrid program for working professionals, but you also run 3 specialty master's programs, soon to be 4.
Yep.
So who's best suited for a specialty master's versus an MBA?
Yeah.
And is, in fact, that market ultimately cannibalizing the full-time MBA market?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the answer to your last question is yet to be seen. We'll see how things go. What we're seeing mostly with the specialty masters are people applying straight out of undergrad or 1 to 2 years out of undergrad. So it's a younger population. And it kind of makes sense because let's say somebody has studied engineering at UCI, and now they're not necessarily sure what they're going to do in terms of engineering, but at the same time are interested in business. So we give them an opportunity, for instance, to go into our business analytics program and really understand how they can take some of the things they learned from the quantitative side in their undergraduate experience and apply them in a business context as you're analyzing data. And you know, data analytics and business analytics, there's a subtle difference, because business analytics, it's really understanding how you take data and make great strategic decisions. And that skill set, if you talk to employers today, that's something that they're aching for. I remember I was at a session a little over a year ago when one of our board members, who was the CEO of one of the large companies in Orange County, and he was saying the thing that keeps him up at night is data. They have all this wonderful information, they just don't know what to do with it. So having people come in who have that expertise makes a huge difference.
And I know the placement rates out of those business analytic programs are extremely high.
Yes.
So are the starting salaries. And the other thing about especially master's degrees, of course, is they tend not to require pre-experience.
Correct. Yeah, and that's what we're finding. Even though we do get some people who have some experience, but for the most part, people with experience tend to be going the MBA direction. At least that's what we're seeing right now. I say that, but we just had a woman start our MSBA program, our business analytics, who's in her 40s. And has had a very successful career, but she recognized business analytics as a skill set that she needs to be successful moving forward, so she came back for the 1-year program.
You know, one of the other things about the MBA that I think is worth pointing out is why the placement rates are as high as they are for a very large number of programs. I mean, you can actually go beyond the top 100 programs in the United States and still see very high placement rates, which you don't see in law school. Right. You know, when you look at law schools, it's shocking in a way that you can look at the top 10 law schools, and then right after that, there's an incredible drop in employment. Out of really good law school programs. That doesn't happen at business schools. Why doesn't it happen? Why are business schools so successful in placing students?
I just think there's so much opportunity to start, and obviously the economy is doing quite well. The unemployment rate is down, so there's a great need for skilled individuals in businesses. I think the other side of it is that all the top schools, you know, in the top 100 are investing a lot of money in career services. And, you know, it's something that Merage is always taking great pride in, because ever since we had Tom Kozicki run our program starting, I think it was 15 years ago or so, that he started, we've had this great focus on high-level career services. And things have evolved over time, where it used to be the 3 segments that I was talking about before. Now you look at a grid and you see function and industry, and it's like there's one person person here, one person here, one person here, yet we've kept up with the times and we're still able to provide the right amount of services so people can be successful in their search. And I always tell people as we're going through the admissions process, I said, if you are motivated and if you're coachable, you will get a job and the job that you want. And so it puts the onus on them, obviously, to be successful.
True, and you have coaches on staff or
yes.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another new aspect of many MBA programs. I would bet that when you went to Anderson in 1998, there was very little emphasis placed on personal and professional development.
Correct. Yeah, and I was somebody who probably needed it more than most. No, I'm just kidding. but yeah, there wasn't as much of that. It was more, it was actually, career services was much less complicated back then because you really knew that somebody was going to go into one of those three areas. For the most part, there were some outliers, a few entrepreneurs even back then. But it was kind of, what it was more about was bringing the employers on campus and making sure that they felt comfortable as they were recruiting your students and keeping them happy because obviously they were hiring the students. But as I said, things have changed significantly since then.
What does Merage do in the field of professional development for a person?
So we have what's called Pro Seminar. So this started about 15 years ago when Tom came on board, and basically it's a 0-unit course, but what it does besides the career side, we work on leadership development, we put students through exercises through this coursework, and it happens throughout the program. The heavy load of it is in the first year, but even in the second year, you're getting pro-seminar coursework to basically allow you to kind of build yourself up. The other thing that we take great pride in at Merage is because we're a fairly small program, yet we have a lot of opportunities. Pretty much everybody in our program takes on some kind of leadership position. If it's, president of a club or VP or helping run our Challenge for Charity area, they're getting their hands dirty in that way, so they're building out their leadership acumen. So it's not just the academic side of it, it's also the practical side, the leadership side.
Okay, let me give you one more question. We're going to open it up to the audience.
Sounds
if you have
good.
any questions, we're happy to answer them for you. And then we're going to break and you're going to visit with all these different schools. Okay, so we have an incredibly strong economy. I think we've had 95 consecutive months of economic growth. We're essentially at full employment.
Yep.
You know the recession's right around the corner.
That's what they're saying.
And luckily, because we're starting trade wars all over the place, and we're increasing our debt to well over $1 trillion, the next recession probably won't be mild. So what advice do you have to MBA applicants who may actually go into a program recently or soon and then come out in the recession?
Yeah, what I would say is really focus in as much as you can on the skill set. Yeah. Rev things up. On the skill set that you want to develop and understand what those things are that are going to help you stand out. Because even in a down market, there's going to be a need for people who understand business today. And so if it's the analytics side, if it's the finance side, if it's the marketing side, whatever those things are that those top employers are looking for, I would do my research, I would do the outreach. Good old networking never hurts. And so knowing the right people, even in a down market, you'll still be successful.
And that circles back to what we said earlier about why placement rates are so good in business schools.
Yep.
The network, the network, the network.
It's all about who you know.
You don't get a network in a law school.
Yeah.
You don't even get one in the med school.
Yeah.
But you do get one in the business school, and it tends to be really helpful to you, not only when you graduate, but throughout your life.
Absolutely.
So, does anyone here have a question, either for John or for myself, about anything at all? Because we want to have this to be a broader discussion in a way, as it has been already, John. Thank you.
Sure, my pleasure.
So let's see, the lights are in our eyes. Should we cold call people to get them used to what it's like to be in an MBA program? Okay, we have one here. Tell us who you are, and tell us where you are in your journey to a business school.
Hello, my name is Cindy. I graduated from UCLA 2 years ago, and I've been working in the auto finance industry. I am international student. I'm looking to get into MBA, and then work in the investment management industry. So my question for John is that for somebody with only 2 years or so work experience, what do you recommend that I highlight in the application so that I can stand out and highlight my strength?
Great question.
That is a good question. You know, I mean, the average tends to be 3 to 5.
Yeah.
So 2 is on the short side, but 2 is like the bare minimum for most programs.
Exactly, and that tends to be our bare minimum, 2 years. And if you have 2 years of experience, obviously quantity is not as critical as the quality of your experience. So really, what you want to show is accomplishments, deliverables, things that you've achieved in those 2 years, how you've grown. If you've gotten a promotion during that time, that's going to be very helpful for you. So those are the types of things that you want to address. Really, what have you accomplished is the key to success. And that's general advice for everybody out there. When you write your resume, make sure you put down accomplishments. Don't just list what your responsibilities were, but put what you've accomplished, and that way you'll stand out, because those accomplishments, just by definition, will be specific to you, not to that general job. So, anyway.
Great advice. And 2 years is good and solid, particularly if you had really good experience and if you can show some progress at work that suggests that you have been successful there. Exactly. Okay, tell us about you.
Hi, my name is Doyle. I wanted to add on to that question. Is it worth holding off for another couple years to have that kind of work experience and those accomplishments under your belt if you're only at 2? And what does the ROI on that kind of look like, on making that decision of like, well, should I apply now or 3 years from now?
Yeah, you know, it depends on the individual, to be honest with you. I think most cases it probably makes sense to wait and build that experience. If you were to assess your resume right now and you felt like you just didn't have quite enough to get into your dream school, then I would take the time to make sure that you focus on that and develop that skill set necessary to kind of position yourself in the right way with the schools that you want to go to. The other thing you can do now, if you're not in too much of a hurry, is go out there and interview people. Have informational interviews where you're getting to know them and understand, why did you get an MBA? What did you get out of it? Would you recommend that's something that I should do at this time? And that gives you the time to kind of figure things out. Now, on the other hand, there's some people who are ready for it, but they keep putting it off because they're just nervous or scared, or they're not willing to take the risk. So that's why I say always reach out to local schools and get that consultation. We do consultations at UCI for people who are looking at an MBA. So if you're interested, stop by our booth and we can set you up for a conversation with one of our admissions professionals.
And John, what about the second part of that question about ROI? I mean, obviously, if you're a younger person who goes into an MBA program, two things happen. Number one, you are coming in probably with a lower salary.
Yeah.
So, but when you graduate, that's not going to be a disadvantage to you because you're going to be paid a market rate for an MBA, regardless of how much work experience you have.
Yeah, just as long as you have the experience and the skill set to get that job, or if you've gained it while you're in the program, then absolutely you can be very, very successful. But again, it depends on the individual. It's so hard to speak in the aggregate because I think overall, yes, people are going to get that return. But there will be some outliers of people who have probably gone a little bit too early and will struggle finding their dream job. So they might have to take what you might call a little bit lower than an MBA level job to just kind of show they can do it, and then they can work their way into it. The good news is that they'll probably get to that MBA level job faster than they would have if they had not gotten an MBA at all.
Right. Anyone else out there?
Looks like there's...
Oh, okay, we have someone on this side.
Oh.
Ingrid, you're doing a hell of a job. And that is Ingrid, who I wanted to acknowledge before, who I couldn't find.
My name is Levi. I'm an active duty Air Force officer, and just from the nature of the undergrad that I took, my GPA is really low comparatively to other MBA applicants. It's around a 3.0. I was wondering if it was worth it to take community college classes to boost that GPA. Is it really, you know, or I could be using my time more competitively, for lack of a better word, just doing other things.
So my stock answer, it depends. So again, you'd be a perfect candidate to meet with somebody in an admissions office to understand where you stand now, what would help you get to that next level. If you were to go to a junior college and get some coursework, it would be important that you know if that coursework counts toward the GPA that we're calculating to basically allow you to get into school. Because we're not just looking at the grades, but we also have to report a GPA for all the different rankings and for the school, the reporting as well. So all these things kind of come into play. So I wouldn't want you to go do a junior college course just to raise your GPA, because you might not be accomplishing that. So I would suggest that you kind of check into it. That being said, we have some people who get into our programs with lower GPAs. And the reason why, they probably have some of the things that you have, being a military officer, understanding what it is to be part of a team, understanding what it is to be successful in a difficult and challenging environment. Those are things that will kind of get you over the hump in terms of the application process when you might have something like a lower GPA.
And John, couldn't a higher standardized test score offset a low GPA?
It can, absolutely. Again, it depends on the school and what their parameters are, et cetera. But we see plenty of times people with lower GPAs, but a higher GMAT. It gives us the confidence that they can be successful in the academic environment. So as a result, yes, it can allay our fears in that area.
I think it's worth pointing out, too, that, look, there are a few perfect MBA applicants who hit on every single metric.
Yes.
Meaning they graduated from an undergraduate institution of note.
Yep.
They had a GPA in excess of 3.6. They have a GMAT average over 720.
Yep.
They've had work experience at a brand name company. They have a track record of promotion. They did the essay as if they were writing for the New Yorker. And they have recommenders that basically think they walk on water. Guess what? There aren't that many applicants like that.
If anybody fits that profile, though, in this room, please come see us.
Okay, anyone else?
Looks like there's one.
Oh, okay, here we go. Good.
Hey, my name is Bobby. I'm also an active duty Air Force officer. We're all from Vandenberg, just a couple hours up the road.
Great.
My question is, I had an undergrad that was very general, but it was, I guess, somewhat of a dual degree in economics and business, and it was an AACSB undergrad accredited. So my question is, I'm kind of deciding between doing a more specific master's versus an MBA. If I already have that undergrad accreditation in AACSB, is an MBA really worth it for me?
It's a good question. Again, it all depends on the individual and what your knowledge set is, et cetera. I was an economics undergrad, yet I went and got an MBA, and I learned so much more than what I learned as an undergrad. Typically, what you're learning as an undergrad is very much textbook, very much tactical, whereas MBA now is not just the tactical side of it, even though you will learn that if you hadn't known that before, but it's also the experiential learning that we were talking about early. It's the global exposure that you're going to get in an MBA program. It's the connections you're going to get in an MBA program. So there's no question that a full-time MBA could be the right place for you. Now, if you're interested in a specific direction, then you might consider a specialty master's, just depending on what master's program you might be interested in. So I would look into that. But there's a couple of routes that you can take. And if you get a specialty master's now, you can always get an MBA later, too, if it makes sense in your career. So.
But John, if I take a specialty master's, am I going to be stuck in a narrow field for the rest of my life? Do I want to do data analytics all my life, or finance, or accounting, or supply chain logistics? Is that what I'm going to do?
You're only stuck as much as anybody else would be stuck. And the fact is, you can go and get an MBA, which would be obviously our preferred course of action. So you could now have greater breadth in terms of your options.
You know, I look at class profiles all the time at all the schools, and I can tell you that a very significant chunk of people with business undergraduates go for MBAs. In fact, just before here, I was just looking at Yale School of Management class profile. 42% of the incoming class had either a business major or an econ major. So it's very common. And as John pointed out, it's not the same experience.
Right.
Undergraduate business programs have become very good in this country, however.
Absolutely.
And they're terrific training grounds for business.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies, in fact, because the cost of the MBA, actually prefer to hire undergraduate business majors today.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Here we go, right down here in front. And thanks for being so engaged today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So lately I've been reading about MBA, and
It's working.
admissions.
Yeah.
What I've come across is the race to get more score in quants in GMAT is really high. It's really competitive. I mean, getting 51 is also, you get into about 90 percentile or 80 percentile. You won't even be good at that. So my question is, what is the good score for me to not be worried about the quants? Because what happens is, the race is never ending.
Let me repeat the question so everyone else can hear it. What is a good GMAT score to get into a Tier 1 MBA program?
Yeah, again, it depends on the program and it depends on your individual profile. Just to throw a number out there, if you're scoring 700 or above, you're probably going to have a good chance of giving yourself a chance of getting into a top 25 school. If you're below that, then obviously other things kind of come into the equation. So you just kind of have to look and see. It depends where your interest lies in terms of which schools you might be interested in. All this being said, every school has outliers. So you might have a lower GMAT, but you excel in so many other areas. So I highly recommend that you give it a try. You know, you don't just say, oh shoot, I can't get the GMAT score that I think I need to get, so I'm not going to be successful. You definitely should still do the process, investigate, have conversations with admissions people, and just understand where you might stand in the whole spectrum.
And while we're talking about standardized tests, I'll just say, some people can do better on a GRE for whatever reason. And if that's the case, you should take the GRE. That test, in fact, is accepted by virtually all the schools.
Yes.
It does not put you at a disadvantage in most schools. In fact, there are only two schools where you may have a problem with a GRE, and it's Chicago Booth and NCOD. If you have access to a GMAT, NCOD will not accept the GRE. They're actually the only school that will do that. Otherwise, GRE is a good bet. And the number of applicants in the pools at really good schools who submit GREs way up. 25% increase at both Harvard and Yale in this current class. So that's another option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. This is Jacob Gwilliam. I have a background in finance and agricultural technology. Looking to apply this here and looking for the courage to pursue something perhaps in public or nonprofit at some point in the next 5 to 10 years. Obviously, it's a concern, financially speaking. Mm-hmm. How common is it, John, and perhaps you can both speak to it, how common is it now for schools to help support students who choose to go into that area at some point?
It's definitely a focus for most schools, including ours. We want to have people who are contributing to society. One of the mantras at UC Irvine and at Merage is sustainability. And, you know, just our world has changed and developed in so many different ways that we need to support and help the world move forward in the right direction. And the only way we can do that is by supporting people who are looking at things that you're looking at. So absolutely. And the good news is that even though you're not going to make as much as the investment banker, you'll still make a pretty good salary. And there are also ways that you can get forgiveness on your loans through the individual, the banks, et cetera, that supply those loans. So there's definitely ways around it. You can work with financial aid counselors, et cetera, to make sure that you're on the path to have success. So highly recommend, going for it.
There's a lot of scholarship money for people like you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And even beyond that, there are stipends that are given to offset the fact that when you do an internship in the nonprofit sector, you'll make less than your colleagues in consulting or finance. And as John alluded to, there are a number of loan forgiveness programs at schools and outside of the schools.
Yep.
So don't be put off by that. There are a lot of people who are going to the nonprofit and government and NGO sector from MBA programs. So look, we're running out of time, but I want to thank John for being a good sport here and dealing with all the thorny questions and the easy questions regarding the MBA, from the cost of it to the value of it, to what happens if there's a recession and you graduate in one. I also want to ask John one last question, because I know this is a pet peeve of every dean. John, what's your honest opinion of rankings?
Oh, gee. If we could live without them, we definitely would love that.
But we all love lists.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I got to be careful what I say, right? But I, you know, they.
No, you don't really need to be careful at all.
They do serve a purpose, and we spend a lot of time making sure that we give the right data to all the publications and make sure that things are accurate. But that being said, you know, it's funny. I think if there were no rankings, then it would be a much simpler process for everybody. So, but
indeed,
so be it.
John, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And again, thank all of you for coming. We're going to bring on the stage every representative from every single school we have here. We're going to give them a moment just to say why, you know, what's really cool that's happening at your school, and why should every one of you go to their table and talk to them? How about that?
Sounds good.
So, John, thank you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, come on up. And where's my partner in crime, Matt? Here you are. So this is like a lineup, right? Gotta love this. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Well, look at you. Familiar face. Hi. So I'm gonna.
Didn't we do this scene in Usual Suspects? I mean, this is.
Ah, there it is. Right. Hey, thanks to all of you for coming. And I'm just gonna pass the mic, right?
Yep. We'll start left to right.
Here we go. Introduce
right.
yourself and your school, and tell us why your school is cool.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Great, I'm Shawnice Brown with Goizetta Business School at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. One thing that is really unique about our business school is that we require experiential learning. So it's not an option, it's not an elective. All of our MBA students must participate in experiential learning. And it's a cool project called Goizetta Impact. So in your first year of studies, you get a chance to have a client consulting project. So it's not a case competition, it's not, you know, a mock project. It's actually a hands-on project where you're leaving our campus to work with Delta Airlines, Turner, Home Depot, and a number of other corporate partners in the region. So it's a client-based project that you will have under your belt after your first year in the program.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Holman. I'm the Director of Admissions and Financial Aid for the Kelley School of Business MBA program at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. I'm a Southern California native, a UCLA alum, so it's always great to come home to visit when I'm out here recruiting, but then it's also nice when I go back to Indiana where we don't have traffic. I look forward to talking to you this afternoon about some of the unique features of our program, including our MBA academies that provide a bridge between your classroom academic experience and your future career through experiential hands-on learning. The other thing that I look forward to telling you about is the career opportunities with your Kelley MBA. Last year, 1/3 of our students received job offers in the West or the Southwest, and so for those of you interested in getting back to California, it can be done with a Kelley MBA. I'll be joined this afternoon in a little bit by a couple of our alums and the newest member of our career services team, Carolyn, who is based here in Los Angeles as West Coast Director of Business Development for our career services team, supporting our students in their West Coast job search and building relationships with West Coast employers. So I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Courtney Elms, and I'm the Executive Director of the Full-Time MBA program at UC Irvine's Paul Merage School of Business. You just heard a lot about our program from John, but one thing that is also unique about us is that every student is required to have an international requirement. It can be done in a number of ways, quarter abroad, and the big one is through international residentials. We have a couple different opportunities. Our students have been all over the world with these one-week residential 4-unit courses, and we're one of only 2 business schools that actually has a master agreement with University of Havana in Cuba. And so our students go to Cuba over spring break in either their first or second year. And we actually even have a student-led international residential to Japan that our students have been putting together for the last couple of years as well.
Hi everyone, my name's Samantha White. I'm over here from the Said Business School in the University of Oxford. One thing that's a little bit different about our program is we're actually a one-year program. So it's a really rigorous, really intense, really awesome program with up to 40 electives that you can really choose to tailor the program to make it what you want to get out of the MBA. And it's set in the beautiful historic city of Oxford. So definitely come and have a chat if you have any questions about our program and about Oxford.
Hi, I'm John Lee, the Associate Director of Admissions at the UCLA Anderson School of Management. I guess most of you are here this afternoon and you heard Alex talk a lot about the school already, so I'm just going to encourage you to come visit our campus. Since most of you are probably local, we have a lot of campus experience things that we're doing this upcoming fall. And I'll also have a current student here to talk about her experience later on.
Hi there, my name is Mark Paolo Guzman. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at the University of Virginia Darden School of Business. And one thing that we are really excited about at our school is that we had a scholarship recently that allows everyone to study abroad for one course for free. And in a couple of years, some money will kick in where not only will your course be free, but you'll also be able to travel for free. So you won't have to find a way to get there because we'll pay for that as well.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kyle MacDonald. I am the Director of Specialized Masters and Doctoral Admissions at the Boston University Questrom School of Business, located in scenic Boston, Massachusetts. I will tell you that the temperature in Boston yesterday was warmer than it was here, so it is not all bad. What you've heard about the weather, actually, Boston is a magnificent city and a magnificent place to go to school. I would be glad to speak with you today about Questrom. We're really excited. We actually have a new dean as of just a couple weeks ago, Susan Fournier. She's a branding expert. She actually has been on the faculty at Questrom for almost 15 years, and she's the first woman to lead the Questrom School of Business. And we're also very excited about our new Innovate at BU initiative, along with our Build and Innovation Lab located right down the street from our building. So come on over. I'll have an alum with me as well. I'm looking forward to speaking with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Anderson, and I am the Associate Director for Admissions at UC Davis. Go Ags. I am here today with two of my alums, Annie and Rose. Please feel free to come by and talk with us. A couple of things about our program. So we have two part-time locations, one in Sacramento, one in the Bay Area. We also have an MPAC program in Davis and a full-time program in Davis, and then we also have an MSBA program in San Francisco. So if you're interested in learning more about those programs, come talk to me. We are big on technology, we're big on biotech, we're big on sustainable energy. We have some food and ag, obviously we're the ag school for the UCs. So if any of those types of things excite you, please come talk to me and I'm happy to chat with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Sweeney. I'm Associate Director of Admissions for Notre Dame's Mendoza College of Business. We are also located in Indiana, so a couple Indiana kids here today. I also enjoy a very short commute to work every day. I'd love to talk to you about some of our service learning opportunities that we have in the program, and also about our new Innovation Hub, which launched over 25 new businesses last year and raised over $40 million for student entrepreneurship.
Hi, everybody. My name is David Zeal. I am the Associate Director for Admissions at the Carnegie Mellon Tepper School of Business. I'm here with my colleague John, who is one of our assistant directors. One reason that you should come chat with me is because we just opened a new building. We'd love to chat with you about that. The grand opening for the new building is actually this week, and I think some folks in the building are actually coming out to the party that we're having this week, so come and chat with us about that. The building is great for a number of reasons. One, obviously, it's a nice new space, but more importantly, it provides a really great opportunity for us to interact with some of the other programs that we have on campus, such as our computer science program, which is amongst the best in the world, if not the best in the world. So it's just an exciting time to be here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Camilla Morgan, and I'm the Senior Director of Executive MBA Admissions at Cornell University. I'm happy to talk to you today about any of our 7 different MBA programs that we have at Johnson at Cornell. Our programs are not only in Ithaca, but we also have a program in New York City. And with our Executive MBA Americas program, we are in 20 different cities across North and South America, including right here in Los Angeles. When it comes to our full-time MBA program, the hallmark is really our immersion experience, and that is a focus of the second semester for all students in the program. And I'd be happy to talk more with you about that and how it enhances your MBA experience with us at Cornell.
Good afternoon, Elaine Padilla, Associate Director of MBA Admissions at the Marshall School of Business at USC, right down the street. I'm here with my colleague Nirav Mehta. So come by our table to talk about the full-time program, the part-time program, or the executive MBA. Big news this year for us, our incoming class, 52% were women. That's great news. I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that, but there's definitely lots of women in our program. We're really excited about the impact that they're going to have in the classroom, and companies are excited about that news as well. We also, as some of the schools mentioned, required overseas experience for all of our MBA students, experiential learning program as well. We're excited to talk to you. We're right here in the back. Don't forget about us. Lots of space over there. And thanks for being here this afternoon.
It's always fun to hear what everybody's doing, right? So hello, my name is Ruthie Pyle-Stifler, Assistant Dean and Director at WashU Olin. Like my colleague here, definitely interested in promoting women in business. Olin was ranked number 4 this year globally for women in business, a great place, a good MBA program to come and study. We got to 42%, so close, right behind you. We're running right behind you. And we are launching a brand new program this year, a global immersion program that will be integrated into our full-time experience, where you will actually, as an entire cohort of 150, travel to Washington, D.C., to Barcelona, and then to Shanghai. At the very beginning of your program, you'll spend a total of 31 days internationally as an entire cohort. This experience will be a variety of different managerial learning opportunities. You'll also learn about strategy and operations, and you'll also do a variety of team-based experiences, very much like The Amazing Race. So it's a very exciting experience, and we're very interested in talking to you a little bit more about that.
All right. Hello, my name is Allison Holmes. I am here with IE Business School. We are based in Madrid, Spain. Everything is in English, before anyone asks. We have a number of different programs, full-time, part-time, executive MBA programs, specialized masters, and they're all accelerated. So 1 year for the full-time programs and up to 18 months for our part-time programs. So if you want to continue working here in the States, but still have an international program, I'd love to come and talk to you. And yeah.
I'm Matt Simmons, the co-founder of the CentreCourt Festival with John Byrne, and I'm just relieved that nobody fell off the stage. I never went to business school. I applied and then even took my GMAT, but then found that we were pregnant with twins, so all of my networking was at 3 o'clock in the morning with 2 bottles. Thank you for all of the schools that are with us here today in Los Angeles. Thank you for all of you for coming in to talk with them. Enjoy the next couple of hours to really find out that breadth of incredible experience and opportunities that business school represents, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone. Did we get a good...